Jaya Gopi Jana Bhallabha Giribharadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Bhallabha Giribharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Srimad-Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishiguru and Shiguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 9, entitled Liberation, Chapter 24, entitled Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we're reading text number 67. Pridya Sabai Guru Bharam Sapayam Kurunam Anta Samuta Kalina Judibu Pachamba Dristya Bidhuja Bijaje Jayan Udbikosya Prachodavaja Chaparam Samagat Swadhama Pritya Sabai Guru Baram Sapajang Kurunam Anta Samutta Kalina Judibu Pachamba Dristya Biduja Bijaje Jayan Udbigosha Prochodavaja Chaparam Samagat Swadhama Pritya Sabai Guru Bharam Sapajan Kurunam Anta Samutta Kalina Judibu Pachamba Dristya Bidhuja Bijaje Jayan Udvigosha Prochadhavaja Chaparam Samagat Swadhama. Please chant. Prityaha on the earth. Saha, he, Lord Krishna. Vai, indeed. Guru Bharam, a great burden. Sapayam, completely finishing. Kurunam, of the personalities born in the Kuru dynasty. Anta Samuttakalina, by creating enmity between the brothers by disagreement. Yudhi, in the battle of Kurukshetra. Bhupa Chambaha, all the demoniac kings. Dristya, by his glance. Vidhuja, cleansing their sinful activities. Vijaye, in victory. Yayam, victory. Udvigosha, declaring the victory of Arjuna. Procha, giving instructions. Udavaya, unto Udava. Cha, also. Param, transcendental. Samagat, return. Swadhama, his own place. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thereafter, Lord Sri Krishna created a misunderstanding between family members just to diminish the burden of the world. Simply by his glance, he annihilated all the demoniac kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and declared victory for Arjuna. Finally, he instructed Uddhava about transcendental life and devotion, and then returned to his abode in his original form. Purport. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chatuskritam. The mission of the Lord was performed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. For by the Lord's mercy, Arjuna was victorious due to being a great devotee, whereas the others were killed simply by the Lord's glance, which cleansed them of all sinful activities and enabled them to obtain Sarupya. Finally, Lord Krishna instructed Uddhava about the transcendental life of devotional service, and then, in due course of time, he returned to his abode. The Lord's instructions in the form of Bhagavad Gita are full of jnana and vairagya, knowledge and renunciation. In the human form of life, one must learn these two things: how to become detached from the material world and how to acquire full knowledge in the spiritual life. The Lord's mission, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chatuskritam, after executing his complete mission, the Lord returned to his home, Goloka Vrindavan. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 9th canto, 24th chapter of the Srimad-Bhagavatam entitled Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. End of the 9th canto. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurube Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Srimate Romapada Swami. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyabadi Pashatyadi Shatarine. Vanchakalpatarubhyasha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, first of all, I'd like to apologize for yesterday's to the devotees and to the devotees that are watching in the internet, although they may have not known because of the efficiency of the devotees. But just my sincere apologies and my gratitude to Acharya Prabhu for saving the day. So we made it to the 10th canto, the summum bonum of all knowledge. In the beginning of the Bhagavatam, the narration goes as, in the forest of Naimisharanya, the sages, headed by Shaunika Rishi, requested Sutta Goswami to answer several questions. One of them was, why does Lord Krishna descend into this world? And another one was, please describe all his wonderful pastimes, his various pastimes. And the other one is 6 questions, but these 3 were specific, to what we're speaking today or what we're reading today. And the other one is, when Krishna departures to this world, he leaves this world, where religious principles will take shelter. And the theme of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which in Sanskrit translates to the beautiful narration of the personality of Godhead, the beautiful book about God. Srimad means beautiful, beautiful, exquisitely beautiful. And Bhagavatam means God. So it's a beautiful book of God that explains specifically about God. And throughout the Bhagavatam, the answers of these questions is being sort of going deeper and deeper and deeper until you reach to this point. So basically all leading to the 10th canto, the appearance of Lord Krishna in the world. There's something very wonderful about the appearance of Lord Krishna, because it's not something that happens quite often. There are many, many incarnations of appearance of the Lord in this world. It is described that they're unlimited, and they're described as the waves of the ocean. They're constantly coming. It's constantly coming like that. We only hear about a few, but actually it is explained that the Lord appears in all species of life. But this particular experience of Lord Krishna is highlighted in the Srimad-Bhagavatam as a summum bonum. And throughout the Bhagavatam, this truth is established over and over and over, and preparing us, in one sense, to be able to fully understand the position of Lord Krishna. Because in one sense, because the Lord appears in so many ways, it may be confusing, or it may not be fully clear how exactly it works and why he does have to appear in so many ways. And in so many ways he established different, the principles remains the same, but it's different levels of understanding or different levels of revelation, like that. So the Bhagavatam lead us to understand the summon bonus, because that was one of the questions of the sages of Naimisharanya. What is the ultimate truth or the ultimate understanding? In fact, the first verse establishes like that. What is that? What is the absolute truth? Or what is the summum bonum? And then, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Satyam Param Dimahi. Srila Vyasadeva says that I meditate upon that absolute truth, Krishna, because, and he's playing, because Jamadhyasi Jatam Vajat, he is the source of all creation. To understand Krishna in fullness and as the source of everything is not simple. It requires this type of revelation. And this is what is given in the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Lord Brahma, the most qualified personality in this universe, he tried to understand the truth, or the absolute truth, on his own effort, by his own endeavor. And he was not able to do like that. But when he received instructions from within the heart of the Lord, of his heart, the Lord revealed the absolute truth. And then Lord Brahma was able to understand this principle that he said, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachitananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, this Sarva Karana Karanam, that he is the cause of all causes. This Krishna, Govinda, he is the cause of all causes. So in one sense, we, intelligent beings, in one sense, a symptom of intelligence is that you question things. You want to understand. So we constantly questions. Why? And this sort of questioning that thinking people that or intelligent people even manifest as a in the life of as a child. Usually, it's a good sign when childs question things. Go to bed. It's time to go to bed. Why? Because it's 8, so you have to go to bed. But why? Why do I have to go to bed? You're not going to bed. Why do I have to go to bed? Well, because tomorrow you have a school. But why? Well, because I'm your mother and I'm saying so. Or I'm your father, Why? Well, I gave you birth, so we go into this why. The same thing, why does God come to this world? Why does he come in so many ways? Why are there so many religions? How we can get these answers to all this why does God come? Ultimately, the answer is given. The answer is given is basically the why is because the Lord comes on his own accord, because he wants to come, because he desires. There's no reason for him to come. His energies can take care of everything. There's no need for the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come. There's not a cause. Therefore, the description is that he comes on his own accord. It's his desire because he wants to come. And in one sense, this question of, well, why in so many different ways? Why not coming, Krishna comes and he straight up things up and there's no much confusion. Not only in the Vedas we have unlimited manifestations of the Supreme Lord, but also we hear in other scriptures, in other traditions, the manifestation of the descent of the Lord, how the Lord enters this world and manifests in so many different ways. For example, in the Bible, it is described that the Lord manifests in Egypt in all these different plagues. He manifests creating all these plagues for the Egyptians, like in frogs and flies and locusts and what else was that? The river became all blood. All the children, the firstborns, die, something like that. There was the 7 plagues of Egypt, and then he manifested, by opening a path through the sea in order to being able to allow Moses and the people of Israel, to cross. And then he manifests in the Mount of Sinai. That's how you say Sinai. Sinai. In Spanish, of Sinai. So he manifests as a burning bush, right? That was not consumed by the fire. And it was so powerful and so bright that Moses cannot even see it, cannot even stare at it. And then the Lord manifests. Actually, it was explained that he descended at that time. And his descent was, it was thunder, it was all this, dust and fog and something like that. I can remember hearing it before. And then the earth trembled, feeling when the mountain sort of like trembled, signifying that he has landed or something like that. And but through this time, Moses was a bit freaked out, very fearful because, of this powerful presence. And he couldn't see. But so he received the commandments or the laws of God and the instructions for the people of God to actually how to, live according to his laws. And Moses at the end was able to see, as it is explained, that he was able to see the back of God just as he left, as he was leaving. So descriptions are that. I think there's also descriptions in the Quran of also how the Lord manifests is that Muhammad was meditating or during Ramadan, and then he heard a voice, this awesome, powerful voice that say, "Read." And I think he couldn't read. It was something like that. Jitendra, you remember something? Recite. And he recite what? And it was some exchange like that, and then the Lord revealed the words of the Quran, so which is to be recited, something like that. So this different appearance or manifestation of the Lord, of the absolute truth that comes into this world, which is this tiny, for a moment the supreme absolute truth enter into this limited, tiny, world. And then he manifests, the eternal truth or the eternal path for human society. And then what to speak when we go into the Vedic literature that has all these wonderful, amazing descriptions of appearance of the Lord in so many different ways. So the question is, why? Why so many? Why so many different ways? That creates all these vast varieties and variegateness of ways of worships and understanding. Krishna answered that question to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. The reasons remains the same. The entrance of the Lord into this world remains an universal principle, which is paritranaya sadhunan. Well, what's the previous one? How's it start? Jada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanan adharmasya tadatmana srijamyaham. That when there is a decline of religious principles, then he comes to establish them again. He comes personally to establish again. So, and then paritranaya sadhunan vinashaya chaduskritan. He comes to enliven and to protect the devotees and to annihilate the demons. So that is the principle of entrance of the Lord into this world. And every time, in any manifestation of the Supreme Lord, he comes and does that business. But then, in the same chapter, Krishna says, what is this whole variety or this variegateness of means in which he enters and he displays and he does things? Then when he tells Arjuna this Jayatamam Prapadyante verse, that as all surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone is following my path in all respects. So tams tataiva bhajamyaham. Bhajamyaham, I reward them accordingly to the way they surrender to me, the way they approach me. So according to the means of surrender, then Krishna reveals in a certain way. So Sukadev Goswami at this stage, which is, basically now entering into the highest truth, the highest form of revelation, the highest, the cause of all causes, the Swayam Bhagavan, the original personality of Godhead, the supreme personality of Godhead, the Sarva Karana Karanam. He starts to give us entrance to what is going to come, which is the pastimes of Krishna and the revelation of Krishna, and the purpose of Krishna's appearance, because it goes beyond this the business part, which is yada hi dharmasya. It goes beyond that. It goes to the point of give the world the opportunity to enter in contact with Krishna in his most intimate form, and give us an entrance opportunity to the people of the world to enter into that most intimate way of relating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there's a big plan, there's a big scheme that the Lord arranges, which is quite amazing and special. It's something that only happens once in a day of Brahma, which is a huge amount of time. It's 1 in 1,000 cycles of yugas, which from the perspective of earthly life is unlimited. It's a lot of years. So in this specific cycle of yuga, 1 in 1,000, Krishna appears himself, and then with Krishna appears this whole scheme or this whole arrangement that facilitates Krishna's purpose. We start with the Mahabharata itself, this whole situation that happens in the Mahabharata, which at the height of the Mahabharata is this family, the Kuru family, in which Krishna explains here, he creates a conflict between brothers. Who are these brothers? The Kauravas, headed by Duryodhana, and the Pandavas, headed by Yudhishthira. So there's this family, the translation is misunderstanding or conflict. And this conflict is going to lead to Krishna being able to do his business, which is rid the burden of demoniac influence of the world. And also allows Krishna to deliver the basically ultimate guide for people of Kali Yuga, which is the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita concludes Krishna's teaching. At the heart of Krishna's teaching, or what Krishna wants us to understand, this is what we're supposed to do. This is what the essence of Krishna's teaching is, this Saranagati Principle, which is full surrender. And only in full surrender we can receive entrance to Krishna, this intimate relationship with Krishna. So Krishna basically is giving you the means, giving us all the means to enter into an intimate relationship with him personally through this process of Saranagati. So he's basically telling us, okay, here's the way you can, here's the process that you can get to there, devotional service. And by devotional service, what is that devotional service, or what devotional service will lead us to or this process of devotional service according to our level. Then we come to the position of full surrender, Saranagati. And then through that we can enter into this relationship. So that is Krishna's business. How he achieved that, how he started to call us in, is basically by displaying, which was the part before doing his business, as Krishna in Dwarka, when he started to kill all these demoniac kings, he gave us his pastimes, his beautiful pastimes in Vrindavan. So yesterday's verse was about that, about he giving us these beautiful pastimes. Thinking for people in Kali Yuga. So it is explained, so people in Kali Yuga, the devotees that take birth in Kali Yuga can actually fully meditate on them. And then by the meditation of the pastimes of Krishna, then one becomes free from all anxieties and the pains of living in this material world, especially in Kali Yuga. So Krishna gives us his beautiful pastimes that we can actually become completely attracted, because they're irresistibly attractive. But it don't stop there, because this is a full package that happens once in the day of Brahma. It's not only Krishna himself come and display his beautiful pastime. It's not only Krishna himself comes and doing the business of God, which is basically establishing relations in principles. It's not only Krishna who actually comes and gives us, a guide of how to, come to the position of pure devotional service. But then he gives us a Srimad-Bhagavatam. The Srimad-Bhagavatam basically takes these principles of Saranagati and go deep into. That's the starting point. That's basically, you take the essence of these teachings of Krishna and just unfold it into this perfect encyclopedia of Saranagati. And it doesn't stop there, because then the ultimate manifestation of the personality of Godhead comes. The ultimate manifestation of the personality of Godhead giving himself to others, comes as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this also happened only in this once a day of Brahma. It all happened as a package. When Krishna comes, then he manifests as Lord Chaitanya. It doesn't happen in the 999 other yugas. It happens just in this one. And as Lord Chaitanya, he comes and he gives us, he freely qualifies us to enter into the realm of Vrindavan. So that Krishna displays, that is only, is very rarely achieved, that even personalities as Lakshmi Devi and Lord Shiva were not allowed. Eventually, even Lord Shiva, to be allowed, he had to be taking shelter of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So, not a simple thing. But Lord Chaitanya qualified anyone to enter into that position. So, ultimately, Krishna comes on his own accord to give himself to us. Not just to actually do the business of God, but actually to give himself in his most intimate manifestation that is only meant for those who are very intimately connected to him. And then the world have entrance to that. Living entities in this universe have entrance to that. And that's an inconceivable amount of mercy and kindness that if we're simply able to understand that, then we qualify to enter into that eternal kingdom in Vrindavan. Jamma karma chame divyan evan jo veti tattvataha. If we understand the purpose of Krishna and his activities when he appears in this world, the purpose is he wants to reclaim us, take us back to his own place. So I think it's pretty amazing. This year is going to be an amazing year just because, just the simple fact that we're going to spend possibly the rest of the year just diving into the 10th canto, which don't miss a class. To devotees in the internet too. Wonderful. So we're very happy, all of us. I'm sure, each one of us is, waiting to relish so much the beautiful pastimes of Lord Krishna. Any comments or questions?
Wondering, Krishna only comes once in the day of Brahman, and he establishes the religious principles, but and then also Lord Chaitanya comes. It's such a vast amount of time, but then such a short amount of time after they leave, the religious principles go down again. Like Lord Chaitanya is basically like within a couple 100 years, like the entire lineage was like covered over, like barely hanging on, like Vaishnavas. And right after Krishna disappeared, Kali Yuga started. Like degradation began, like right away. So he came, he destroyed the irreligion, but then right away Kali Yuga started, and irreligion became even more prominent than before. I'm just wondering how that works. Like, why doesn't it last longer? Right? Or like Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, and we're sitting here only 500 years later, and nobody knows that he was here, but only a few.
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess, one thought that comes into my mind is the power of Kali Yuga and the quality of life and consciousness of people in Kali Yuga. The influence is very, very strong. But one may say, well, this material energy is just an energy of Krishna, so, Krishna probably flattened the whole thing if he wants, If he does, he can do, but I guess it's part of the plan. And sometimes I remember, hearing that some questions comes like that to Srila Prabhupada. Why? The why is, why, Krishna didn't finish the whole thing, Lord Chaitanya is the inaugurator of the Krishna conscious movement. So why is not the world Krishna conscious? When God himself comes and establishes ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And then Prabhupada sort of recalls saying that he left the work, he left for us something for us to do. So, because Krishna likes to glorify his devotees. So there have to be some drama in order to, glorify the devotees doing something so extraordinary. So Prabhupada's position And what Prabhupada was able to achieve is so extraordinary that through Kali Yuga, he is going to be glorified as the preeminent Acharya for this age of Kali. So, in one sense, Krishna likes to, just like it's in this verse it say today, he makes all this arrangement, but he declares who was the victorious, who have all the victory. It was Arjuna. Although by his glance, he was able to, kill all these demoniac kings. But Arjuna was, the instrument. So the instruments of Lord Chaitanya's establishment of the Sankirtan movement around the world, that every town and village is his devotees. And I think that's part of also giving us the opportunity, because if he does it himself, it will be so, what do we have to do? We just have to sit down and enjoy, like that. It's like more or less like the Christian, arrangement. Yeah, he died for us. He took all our sins. We just have to say, yes, I accept you. And then the flesh is weak. So we mess up over and over. We go to him and say, I'm sorry. And then mess up again. I'm sorry. Mess up again, like that. But don't worry. As long as we accept, we go back home. It doesn't work like that. We know. So in one sense, part of being able to receive Lord Chaitanya's gift is to take it and to distribute it to others. So Sankirtan. So Lord Chaitanya left it for his devotees. He didn't write books. He had his devotees writing books. He established the principles, of Sankirtan, and he left the devotees to take it to every town and village. He ordered that. So, he set up the whole thing in motion for the devotees to go, just like Krishna set up the whole Mahabharata drama to do his business, and Arjuna being, the victorious ones. So he set up the whole thing, this whole obstacles, I think, for the devotees to overcome and then be victorious. So in one sense, that's the opportunity that each one of us have to be part of history, to be part of this universal history, in one sense. To be one of the soldiers of the victorious Arjuna, be one of the soldiers of Sri Chaitanya's army under the great general Srila Prabhupada. It's quite something. So, some talk like that. Jitendra Prabhu, you wanted to say something? Okay. Jai Baladev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for your class. When brought to mind, you were mentioning the word Saranagati, surrender. And this reminded me of Bali Maharaj's pastime where he surrendered in the Bhagavatam and says he's the embodiment of surrender. He surrendered everything to the Lord, his body, mind, and words and things. And because he knew the principle that connecting to the Lord would be actually there's a verse in the Gita, I think 1861, Prabhupada will always quote, Ishwara Sarvabhutanam Hridesha Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayam Sarvabhutani Yantra Arudani Mayaya. The word yantra means machine. In our experience, I mentioned this many times, and it's a very good example that I appreciate. I try to keep in mind. When we connect the machine to its power source, then we get actual benefit, but when it's disconnected. And so the Lord also says in chapter 10, verse 8 of the Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate, iti matva bhajate mam Buddha bhava samavitaha. Those who are actually Buddha bhava samavitaha, those who are actually truly enlightened, connect everything to me because I am the original power source. And Bali understand this principle. So my question is related to this verse from today. It mentions that that there's misunderstanding even between family members. So we see in the material world that the conception is that because people belong to the same religion, the same family, and the same race, there's going to be harmony between them. But we can see that's not true. There's even disharmony between people within the same religion, the same race, and the same family members. So my question is related to the point is that a lot of times people become discouraged in religion when they're trying to connect to everyone within a religion instead of focusing on connecting to the Lord. Because the reality is that we all have our nartas. So why are we wasting our time trying to please everyone, which is impossible? We have nartas. Nobody goes into prison trying to connect to other prisoners. They try to connect to the governor who can release them from prison. That's what Krishna says. Connect to me and I can release you from prison. So what do you say to a person who's uselessly spending his time trying to connect to every devotee and trying to please every devotee? Because we hear in classes all the time, you should please the devotees, but the reality is we have in our nartas, we have our motivations. So how do you inspire someone to stay enthusiastic when they're trying to connect to the devotees and they're impossible to please? So what do you say to a person like that who may leave the religion because they can't connect to everyone? So that's my question, essentially.
Well, in one sense, Krishna, he tells us that that those who comes to me directly, he is not as pleased. Even he says, he says the much stronger words. They're not my devotees, but those who are the servants of my devotees, they are my devotees. So the principle is there. It doesn't jive very good with, conditioned souls like most of ourselves, that the whole idea of being servants of others is a little hard pill to swallow. And then what to speak when we have to learn to relate with so many different type of people in a not only in a family environment but also in a community like that is not an easy task for conditioned souls that are afflicted by this false ego, just as you mentioned. So what do? You become an impersonalist, or you become, I deal only with the deities and the devotees. It's too difficult. Too many different, all these, expectations and misunderstandings and, different ways of seeing things. So, why dealing with all that variegatedness? Just go to the one thing. So basically, that's the frustration that comes of being in this material world, and that's what leads to impersonalism. And that's something that that Krishna doesn't encourage. Rather, is that what Krishna encourages is, that we relate with others. And what we do? Well, he gave the instructions that you have to cultivate certain qualities that allows you to navigate into the difficult, situation of relating with so many different people that are quite different from you, and they may see the world very different from you, which is the reality of this world. This world is full of variegatedness. It's what it is. Even the spiritual world is full of variegatedness. It's Krishna's creation is full of variegateness. So, what is the elements that are required for us to be able to exist in harmony with a full of variegateness? Is being Krishna conscious. And how do we get there? Well, the qualities we have to cultivate. Trinarapi sunichinatarorapi sahishnuna amanina mananina. So those basic ones help us to navigate. So that I'm not humble, I'm not tolerant, I have a big false ego, and I have a motivation even when I, try to connect, and you have a motivation and like that. Well, yes, however, I can see that in myself, and I start to cultivate. Cultivation becomes easy when you associate with people who are also cultivating those same things. And even more powerful when you have association with someone who is very advanced on those qualities and can help us, such our spiritual masters. They can help us on that because they're quite advanced. And the association with devotees who are trying to cultivate those is important. So then we appreciate. Then, sometimes we may find ourselves, upset. Some fellow devotees stood in my my feet, my toes, and then I'm disturbed. Sometimes it may come like that, and then, I capture myself, correct myself, apologize in a humble way, and then cultivate. It's cultivation. It's cultivation. At one point, we have to come there. Otherwise, there's no chance for us to chant the holy name. And if we can chant the holy names constantly, we cannot get, Durdaivam will be very misfortune. We can only lament. So there's no alternative but to actually face it. We have to break through our false ego. We have to be able to be very comfortable in the position is, dasa, anudasa. We have to be comfortable in that position. We have to be comfortable being no one, being just simply a servant of the servant of the servant. And when we can take that, then we're ready. So it's a process, it's gradual. Krishna Archana.
I just have to collect my thoughts because I was listening to the response. You had brought up that there were two purposes for Krishna's appearance. That one was that re-establishment of religious principles which he states, and the other purpose you pointed out was actually to give one entrance into his extraordinary pastimes. So connected to that, you had brought up that actually the whole Bhagavatam leading to that hearing of those pastimes is actually also in some sense, as I understood it from how you were relaying it, showing the process of surrender, which is the means to access the pastimes. So the question I was going to ask was, would you be kind enough to, in some way, delineate how the whole Bhagavatam is carving out, illustrating assisting one in the process of surrender that one can actually access those pastimes, if it's possible to do it in a short way.
Yeah, what immediately comes to my mind with the question is that it's basically all set up in the beginning of the Bhagavatam. The premise of the whole Bhagavatam is set up in that beginning, in that exchange between the sages of Naimisharanya and Sutta Goswami, when those questions are asked. And from the perspective, from what the Acharyas tell us is that basically the Bhagavatam takes off where the Bhagavad Gita ends. The Bhagavad Gita ends on Saranagati. The Bhagavatam starts on that and develops, and then go deeper. So the sages ask, basically, in the beginning, tell us about why the Lord sent Krishna, why he, and all his various pastimes. Sutta Goswami makes it very clear. He says, Krishna is the Swayam Bhagavan. So that's established. Krishna as the ultimate. All these different incarnations, he says, Ete Chamsa Kalapunsa Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam. All these different incarnations, all these different appearances of the Lord that I have narrated, they are either parts, extensions, or parts of the original personality of Godhead, Krishna. So the whole Bhagavatam basically is a narration of Krishna and his different activities. It's already established. It's the premise of the Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna is the supreme, absolute truth. And then we're going to narrate all these beautiful different activities that he does through different times, in different, all these varieties of manifestations. And it's all basically reinforcing, and it comes over and over, sparse. It's all reinforcing or leading to actually, okay, so we hear all his activities, now we're going to hear about him. It leads to that, which is like, it's almost like, okay, we've been waiting to hear about him, the ultimate, the supreme, the cause of all causes, the Swayam Bhagavan. We want to hear about his beautiful, personal pastime, the way he deals in the most intimate setup, which is, it creates this sense of, okay, I'm ready. Like that. And that's how the Bhagavatam is so beautifully composed. Just to come to this, part. And naturally, the purpose of the Bhagavatam is to give us a perfect entrance and understanding of how to live in perfect surrender to Krishna. Mam ekam saranam braja, only Krishna. Because he is the summum bonum, he is the absolute truth. He is the cause of all causes. So only him. So Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda because he is that. So is the whole, is Krishna's purpose. Krishna actually comes to give himself to us. Otherwise, Lord Vishnu can come and do the business, do the same thing, wiping all the, like that, all the demons and things like that. So that's my limited understanding. Okay, very quickly, we've passed time. I guess, the nectar.
Thanks. I was just going to share that the question comes up. Krishna says to surrender unto him. So how is that enacted? And Prabhupada mentions that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ideal devotee. So he's actually presenting how to surrender to Krishna in the best way. So in Kali Yuga, we know Kali Kaler Namarupa Krishna Avatar. So that real principle of surrender in Kali Yuga means surrendering to the holy name. And holy name gives one, it's surrendering to Krishna by surrendering to his holy name. The holy name is a person. So that process, I think that he came to give based on teachings of Bhagavatam is the example for Kali Yuga, for devotees. So just a thought.
Yes, very nice. Okay, thank you so much. Garantara Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai.